مشاهدينا الكرام، أهلا وسهلا بكم في عدد جديد من برنامج رواق الدبلوماسية. نستضيف في هذا العدد سعادة سفيرة الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية بالجزائر السيدة إليزابيث مور أوبن. سعادة السفيرة، أهلا بك في برنامج رواق الدبلوماسية.
Thank you for being here at the U.S. Embassy. Jamel, it's a great pleasure to speak with you today.
سعادة السفيرة، البداية كالعادة، كيف تقيمين العلاقات الجزائرية الأمريكية؟
Our relationship has grown immensely during my mandate. We work together to build our economic partnership. And so that means creating jobs in Algeria with the more than 100 U.S. companies that operate here and spurring economic growth. In the cultural area, we work together to preserve Algerian heritage. The United States has spent more than $1 million to help preserve both tangible and intangible cultural heritage. And we have 5 English language centers across the country where we teach Algerians who want to learn English without any cost through our 5 cultural centers. Additionally, we work on regional stability and security together, and it is a great pleasure to work with Algeria on those issues on the United Nations Security Council and also on the Human Rights Council in Geneva.
سعادة السفيرة، وماذا عن مستوى العلاقات الجزائرية الأمريكية في المجال التجاري والاقتصادي؟ كيف ترين حجم هذه المبادلات بين البلدين؟
So with more than 100 U.S. companies operating here in Algeria, we have $4.5 billion or so worth of two-way trade. The United States is the largest foreign direct investor in Algeria with foreign investment of 28% of the total that Algeria has each year, according to the International Monetary Fund. We continue to want it to expand those relationships, and I've worked very hard during my mandate on achieving a direct flight between Algeria and the United States so that our two-way trade relationship could be catapulted. That would also have the added benefit of increasing our people-to-people ties.
وفي مجال المحروقات، في التبادل في مجال الطاقات المتجددة، خاصة الطاقات المتجددة، وفي مجال المحروقات الشراكة الجزائرية الأمريكية.
I was in NAPEC this week where we had the great opportunity to sign, the Minister of Energy and I signed an agreement on methane abatement, and more than 20 U.S. companies participated in NAPEC, both looking at Algerian conventional and non-conventional resources and how we can best work with our Algerian partners to go where they want to go in terms of oil and gas extraction.
سعادة السفيرة، زرت الكثير من المدن الجزائرية. هل من استراتيجية لتطوير السياحة في الجزائر وفتح فرص الاستثمار للجانب الأمريكي في قطاع السياحة؟
In fact, yesterday, the day before yesterday, I was in Mostaganem, my 44th wilaya that I have visited in this country. It's such a vast and beautiful country. There's so much to see and do here. And we agree that tourism is an untapped potential in this country. There's just so many places with incredible history, marvelous cuisine, and a warm and welcoming people. And so the United States does work with the Algerian government on projects that the Algerian government would like to pursue, not only for English language learning in the tourism sector, but also we have taken a group of Algerians to the United States to show them our tourism ecosystems, what has worked for us for tourism, what hasn't worked for us, so that Algerians can take back what they think would be beneficial in this environment.
وسعادة السفيرة، كيف ترين مستقبل العلاقات الجزائرية الأمريكية في قطاع التربية والثقافة؟
We have a lot of exciting projects going on between the United States and Algeria in terms of education, language learning, technology transfer, and scientific research. So, for example, we have universities that are twinning together to do part of your degree here in Algeria, part of your degree in the United States. We have worked with the Columbia University Teachers College to help the Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research revamp their English language curriculum for all of Algeria's 116 plus universities. We have a partnership that has been established between Notre Dame University and Sidi Abdullah University on AI and other scientific research. So there's a lot going on, and more of it is grassroots. More and more of it is people who've studied in the United States or have a connection there, or Algerians working at a university in the US coming back and creating these partnerships that are very exciting and could lead to many inventive and new ideas to help mankind.
سعادة السفيرة، نعرج على ما يحدث الآن في الشرق الأوسط. كيف تقرؤون الهجمات التي يشنها الكيان الصهيوني على قطاع غزة وما يحدث الآن في لبنان؟ هل هذا سيؤثر على العالم وعلى استقرار وأمن المنطقة؟
The United States has been working since this first began to create a durable ceasefire. We've worked with partners, Qatar, Egypt, and others. Algeria has given aid to Gaza. We think that's enormously important. We applaud Algeria for their efforts to help the people of Gaza. We insist that more aid get into Gaza now to help the people there. We are looking for a ceasefire because that is a prerequisite to what the US and Algeria actually agree on, a two-state solution. Getting to that point, it has to start with a ceasefire. And so the Biden administration has been working every day since October 7th of last year to achieve that ceasefire so that then conversations can move on to a broader discussion about a two-state solution. We are concerned with what's happening in Lebanon. We want the Lebanese future to be in the hands of the Lebanese people, and we believe in Lebanese sovereignty and the Lebanese people's ability to decide their future. We also believe a ceasefire is absolutely essential in that situation as well.
سعادة السفير، على ذكر مجلس الأمن، الجزائر تقوم والدبلوماسية الجزائرية تقوم بعمل جبار من أجل تمرير قرار وقف العدوان على غزة، لكن في كل مرة تصطدم بالفيتو الأمريكي، وهذا ما أثر على صورة الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية في العالم. كيف تقرأ مستقبل السياسة الأمريكية بعد العدوان على غزة ولبنان؟
The United States and Algeria have worked very closely together in the Security Council. We have agreed on resolutions for a ceasefire. We have worked very closely on this extremely difficult issue where people feel very deeply on every side of this issue about how the situation can move forward. The United States and Algeria continue to speak daily at the UN. The US ambassador to the UN speaks constantly with the Algerian ambassador to the UN. We work together to identify our areas of interest, including getting aid to the people who need it and creating the conditions for a durable ceasefire. We both agree on both of those issues.
سعادة السفيرة، الموقف الأمريكي مما يحدث من عدوان همجي على الأطفال والنساء في غزة أثار على الصورة الأمريكية في العالم وأعطى صورة سيئة على الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية لأنها في كل مرة تقف بجانب الكيان الصهيوني في عدوانه على غزة.
The United States has called for civilian targets to be avoided. We have had continuous discussions with all of our partners on this issue and finding a way forward to a ceasefire. We're going to continue to work on that. We're going to continue to talk to Algeria about that until we get there. This is a very difficult, complex issue. We are not backing off from our daily engagement to work towards a durable solution.
وهل الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية ترى أن مستقبل الشرق الأوسط هو في حل الدولتين، يعني إقامة الدولة الفلسطينية وعاصمتها القدس الشرقية؟
The United States sees a two-state solution as the ultimate goal. We have conversations with Algeria about that frequently, and the path that gets us to the ceasefire is the first step, and then a diplomatic resolution has to be reached to get to the next step after that. I'm not going to presuppose the total outcome of this other than to say we both have the same goal and we both understand what the steps are to get to our goal.
وكيف ترون ما تقوم به الدبلوماسية الجزائرية كعضو غير دائم في مجلس الأمن من جهود من أجل إحلال السلام في الشرق الأوسط ووقف العدوان على غزة ولبنان؟
Algeria has been a wonderful partner and counterpart. They have had a constant dialogue with us. They have worked with us. We have discussed issues through where we don't see things exactly eye to eye. We find areas where we do. We concentrate on those. We understand each other's differences and similarities and how we approach the issue. And Algeria has been a wonderful partner in the UN Security Council as we work through this unprecedented time.
سعادة السفيرة، نعرج على إفريقيا. هل تظنين أن قيادة أفريكوم فشلت في مساعيها في إفريقيا بعد ما حدث في الساحل، وهو خروج القوات الأمريكية من الساحل الإفريقي، وقبلها كان ما حدث في الصومال؟ ألم تتعلم الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية بأن إفريقيا أصبحت عليها أرض عصية؟
It's so interesting because the United States wants to be a partner to Africa and wants to help African countries find solutions to African problems. And so therefore, as a partner, we are there where our African friends want us to be. And if there needs to be a course adjustment, we are happy to do that. That is our role, is to be helpful, to participate, to find solutions, and to partner with African friends. And so in the case of changes, this has been through dialogue, this has been very peaceful, and this has been African leaders asking for changes in support and how we move forward together. That doesn't mean that the support doesn't still continue in other ways. And in fact, we speak with our colleagues and counterparts in Niger and Somalia all the time. We still provide assistance to them. We are involved in diplomatic conversations, providing aid to people on the ground. That's what America does, and that's what we'll continue to do in Africa, is work with our African friends.
وسعادة السفيرة، هل الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية مع عودة المينورسو إلى من أجل تمكين الشعب الصحراوي كآخر مستعمرة في إفريقيا من تقرير مصيره وتمكين شعبه من الاستقلال؟
The United States supports wholeheartedly and full-throatedly the efforts of Staffan de Mistura and the United Nations to find a diplomatic solution that will provide a durable solution for the Sahrawi people. We have discussed this with our Algerian counterparts multiple times, and we have had the kind of conversation that friends have about this. The Algerians have also expressed their full-throated support for Staffan de Mistura's efforts, and we are hopeful that he will be able to move this issue forward so that this long-standing, difficult situation can come to a resolution that meets the needs of the Sahrawi people.
سعادة السفيرة، التجمع الاستخباراتي الذي يسمى Five Eyes الذي يضم الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية وبريطانيا وكندا ونيوزيلندا وأستراليا هو في الأصل تجمع من أجل تبادل المعلومات الاستخباراتية بين هذه الدول، لكن في الحقيقة الصين تقول أن هذا التجمع هو من أجل مواجهة وحد المد الصيني في المحيط الهادي.
AUKUS is a formulation of historic alliances that we've had. You pointed out in your question. We have formed this model to share technology, to create safe supply chains, and to continue to encourage that no side escalate any issue in the region. This is an incredibly important region with dramatically important trade routes for every country in the world. And so we are looking for them to maintain peaceful and de-escalatory actions that will allow for continued trade while continuing to support economic prosperity for everybody in East Asia and the Pacific.
سعادة السفيرة، ماذا عن الانتخابات الأمريكية؟ هل تؤيدين فوز كامالا هاريس أو دونالد ترامب؟ وهل هذا سيؤثر على السياسة والخريطة الجيوستراتيجية في العالم؟ ونحن نعرف أن الثابت هم السياسة الخارجية الأمريكية والمتغير هم الرؤساء.
I look forward to speaking with whoever is elected the next president of the United States about the importance of the U.S.-Algeria bilateral relationship. The U.S. and Algeria have a lot we can do together to promote stability in Africa, across the Middle East, to continue to build on our economic prosperity and develop our people-to-people ties, expand our cultural preservation, and continue English language learning. There's so much in there that we have to talk about, and I can't wait to let the next administration know about how important Algeria is and the deep friendship that the United States and Algeria have maintained since our first treaty in 1795, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship signed right here in Algiers.
سعادة السفيرة، شاهدت الكثير من المباريات الكروية في الجزائر. هل ممكن نعرف فريقك المفضل أو ماذا عن تأهل المنتخب الوطني إلى كأس إفريقيا؟
I congratulate the Phoenix qualifying for the Africa Cup. I watched them play for a previous Africa Cup right here in Algiers. And you may have seen from my social media, I'll wear a split jersey before I take sides. I love Algerian football, and my team is the Phoenix.
سعادة السفيرة، وهل تؤيدين احتراف لاعبين جزائريين في الدوري الأمريكي؟
I think the more that Algerians and Americans can get to know each other, can work together, can play together, the better it's going to be for both of our countries and for peace in the world. And so I am all for any sort of sports exchange, players coming here, players going there, learning from each other. Algerian football is a great way to learn from each other and to create a team environment that I think is really important for solving the complex challenges of the 21st century. And the better and more close connections that we can develop between our two countries, the better it's going to be for everyone.
سعادة السفيرة، تواجدك في الجزائر مكنك من تعرف على المطبخ الجزائري. هل يمكن نعرف أكلتك المفضلة التقليدية في الجزائر التي أثارت فيك؟
They're all my favorites. I can't pick one. I love shakshuka, reshta, couscous, zviti. I love it all. One of the wonderful discoveries about traveling around Algeria is to see each regional distinction of a dish that may sound familiar, but each region has its own way of creating it. And that has been a lot of fun to discover all of that.
سعادة السفيرة، في نهاية هذا الحوار نترك لك حرية ختامه والكلمة الأخيرة.
Thank you for that. I love every day that I'm here in Algeria. My husband and I had the opportunity to come back. We were here previously from 2011 to 2014 when I was the #2 at the U.S. Embassy, and the opportunity to come back in February of 2022 has been an enormous gift. And having the chance to work on this bilateral relationship and to learn more about Algeria and Algerians and share about the United States and all the similarities that we have between our two countries, and also explore the differences and understand those better as well, has been the greatest honor of my life. And I continue to love that and doing that every day.
Thank you, Excellence. في نهاية الحوار مشاهدينا الكرام نشكركم على كرم المتابعة والإصغاء وإلى اللقاء. سعادة السفيرة إليزابيث مور أوبن نشكرك على كرم الضيافة وإلى اللقاء.
Thank you. شكرا جمال. يعطيك الصحة.